Hello and welcome to the University of Lincoln's Postgraduate Brunch. My name is Kratky and I'm a Postgraduate Advisor here at the University of Lincoln, and I'll be hosting the brunch this morning. This brunch is designed for those of you who are thinking about starting postgraduate study either this year or in the future. At today's event, we'll be focusing on the theme of why you may wish to study a postgraduate qualification and the potential benefits that this will have for your career. Firstly, I'll be speaking to Farhan Ahmed, the Dean of Postgraduate Education at Lincoln, who'll discuss why this year may be the perfect time to start a master's. I'll then be talking to a panel of former students about their experiences of studying at Lincoln and how postgraduate education has helped them apply for jobs and prepare for life after university. Finally, for those of you who want to join the University of Lincoln this year, we'll be hearing from the postgraduate team manager, Beth Pearson, who'll be guiding you through the application process. But for now, I'm delighted to hand over to our Dean of Postgraduate Education, Farhan Ahmed.
A very good morning to you all. And I hope you are all keeping safe and well at these times. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here this morning and to have the opportunity to discuss with you your potential desires to study at the postgraduate level. But more significantly this morning, I want to focus on the benefits that postgraduate education would provide you should you wish to engage with it. Now, by virtue of the fact that I'm joining you this morning virtually from my home, it is an indicator of the times that we are in at the present time. And as a result of that, personally, and I think it's a well-known fact now across the sector, that undertaking a postgraduate degree at this time has never been a better option for you. And as a result of that, I want to explore what benefits you would be likely to experience by undertaking a postgraduate degree now. Now, fundamentally, at the university, when we have students inquire about postgraduate study, we often explore what they would like to do with them. And we often explore fundamentally, as a result of that, two fundamental specialisms that they may wish to look at. Now, first of all, you might be interested in undertaking what we would call a specialist master's degree. Now, fundamentally, a specialist master's degree would be a continuation on the specialist knowledge and skills that you may have. For example, if you're an undergraduate marketing student or you have previous experience within marketing, you may wish to explore undertaking a postgraduate degree in MSc Marketing or maybe MSc Digital Marketing, for example. That being a perfect example of how you are fundamentally specializing in terms of your skills base. Alternatively, you may decide that at the postgraduate level, you wish to convert. Now, this is becoming increasingly more common as well. For example, you might be an undergraduate drama student or performing arts, using an alternative example. And at the postgraduate level, you might decide that you wish to undertake a degree in law, for example, or even in business. And that is an example of how you are able to convert your discipline and add a new area of knowledge and skills to your skill set already that you have. Now, whichever option you decide to undertake, whether that be a specialist master's or a conversion, I want to spend a few minutes talking about the benefits that undertaking either one of these approaches would have in your future careers. Now, there is unquestionably a benefit to be acquired by undertaking postgraduate study, and that means that there is something known as the postgraduate premium. That is where you fundamentally, by undertaking a postgraduate degree, are increasing the chances of you, first of all, acquiring a higher salary within any future career, or alternatively as well, progressing through that career a lot quicker because of the fact that you have a postgraduate qualification. Now, there are many studies out there that have indicated students that undertake postgraduate qualifications move up the career ladder quickly and also acquire higher salaries as they move up their respective career paths as well. These fundamental benefits of postgraduate study are unquestionable, and we have often seen amongst many of our alumni and graduates that they have progressed through their respective careers at a considerable rate, meaning you are likely to benefit from this by undertaking postgraduate study. Moreover, there are other many great reasons to undertake postgraduate study. The fundamental one as well being you're increasing your knowledge and skill set, okay? And in the world that we live in right now, we are all about acquiring new skills. We are all about acquiring new knowledge sets, which we can implement in our day-to-day lives. And postgraduate study will give you that opportunity. Remember, it is a transformational process. You will be coming into your respective degree with a particular set of knowledge and skills, and you will be leaving with a whole range of new skills and knowledge as well. And those transferable skills, as well as subject-specific skills, will make you so much more employable in the years to come, hopefully following graduation. There is also benefits to be gained in terms of the networks and professional opportunities that you will be afforded. Now, this is an interesting one because what we have seen within our postgraduate community is it's an eclectic mix of individuals. Some students are those that are continuing straight from their undergraduate degrees, whilst there is certain students that are coming back to education following maybe a break, following maybe working in industry for a few years, or maybe just because they've been involved in caring responsibilities. Upon their return, what you see is that the classroom is made up of people with different experiences, different knowledge sets, different skills, and as a result of that, as a postgraduate student, you are able to acquire new networks, new professional contacts that you never had before. And as I always say to my students, by acquiring this network and by acquiring these contacts, you are fundamentally opening up opportunities that you may be able to take advantage of following graduation. Further opportunities that exist at the postgraduate level include the opportunity to undertake industry experience. Many of our degrees at the moment have small experience opportunities, or maybe up to even a year in industry as well. And depending upon the degree you wish to go for, you will have that opportunity to acquire greater industry skills, whether that be in local organizations in and around Lincolnshire, or even further afield nationally. And we've also had examples of students going international as well to make sure that they are able to get industry experience from across the world. This opportunity is brilliant because it sets you apart from other students. When you graduate, not only do you have your degree certificate and the qualification you have obviously acquired, but you also have that added industry experience as well. And it's those small factors that will set you apart when you send your CVs and covering letters to organizations. Finally, there's just a couple of more points that I wanted to highlight with regards to the postgraduate experience. The last one is that I always suggest to students thinking of postgraduate study that you always pursue something you are passionate about, whether that be a specialist subject area, like I mentioned at the start of my presentation, or whether that be a conversion in your discipline. Do something that interests you. I can honestly say from experience, having done a postgraduate degree myself, that if you do something you have a passion and interest for, the likelihood of you doing the best possible in terms of your grades and the outcome of your degree increases substantially. Postgraduate study is all about curiosity. It's all about doing something you have a passion and love for. So when you're looking at our fantastic range of postgraduate degree programs at the University of Lincoln, think about what is it that you enjoy watching on TV, that you enjoy reading about, that you enjoy just generally keeping up to date about, because maybe that will be a subject area that you wish to pursue at postgraduate level. And finally, and I'm sure we'll come on to this in a few moments' time, there are so many fantastic graduate stories about how our students, whether they've specialized or converted at the master's level, have gone on to achieve great things. Everyone's journey is unique. And whilst I've highlighted many benefits of postgraduate study, in a few moments' time, you are going to hear personalized stories of how our graduates have done in postgraduate study and then in their careers thereafter. And what you will see, and a consistent thread across all of these student stories, is how they've benefited from PG study and how undertaking a postgraduate degree has opened up doors and opportunities that they never had previously. So on that note, I want to say thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you all keep well, safe, and I hope we see you at the University of Lincoln in the very near future. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Farhan, for that. I think that was a brilliant discussion on the benefits of postgraduate education, both from a careers perspective, but also from a personal growth perspective. So thank you so much for that. As you've said, I'm really delighted now to welcome our alumni panel to the event. So I'm going to welcome Ben, Alice, Greg, Tom, Sean, and Effie, please. Hello, and thank you so much for being here. It's a real pleasure to speak to you again. Now, we're just going to run through a couple of questions. So really you can share your experiences of what life was like at the University of Lincoln as a postgraduate student and how that's helped you now in your career path as well. So first of all, Ben, can you just quickly introduce yourself and say what postgraduate course you studied at Lincoln and what job you're doing now?
Hi everyone, my name's Ben and I studied SCIT, which is School Centred Initial Teacher Training course, which works as the sort of like an individual provider called the Lincolnshire Teacher Training Alliance, and they partnership with the University of Lincoln so that you get your teacher training through them, and then you do your postgraduate sort of qualification at the university, so you get your PGCE as well. So it's all sort of combined. And I'm currently teaching at a secondary school in Grantham.
Perfect, thank you, Ben. And Alice, what postgraduate course did you study or are studying at the University of Lincoln? And what job do you hope to go on to after you leave us?
Hi, I'm currently a second year, so I'm in my second and final year of children's nursing, and I'm hoping to get a job in a ward setting, preferably.
Perfect, thank you so much. Greg, can you talk about the postgraduate course that you studied and what you're now doing with it?
Not a problem. So I study a Master's by Research or an MRes in psychology, and I'm currently studying to do a PhD in psychology.
Wonderful.
Preferably to go to lecturing afterwards. So
amazing, thank you so much. Tom, again, can you just introduce yourself and the course that you're studying and what you're currently doing now?
Yep. Hi, Lauren. Hi, everyone. I'm Tom, and I studied the MA Creative Writing and Publishing. I'm currently a professional freelance writer, part-time retail manager, and I'm about to launch my own editing, copywriting, content creation freelance business as well in the next few weeks.
Amazing. That's so exciting. Congratulations. And Sean, again, can you just introduce the course that you studied and what you're currently doing now as a career?
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Sean. I undertook the MSc in Mechanical Engineering and I'm now a graduate engineer with Siemens Energy in Lincoln.
Perfect, thank you. And finally, Effie, again, can you just talk about the course that you studied and what you're currently doing now?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I studied the MSc Agri-Food Technology, and at the minute I'm a project manager for an agri-tech company.
Wonderful. Well, a really broad base of expertise there in different programmes. So I think there'll be something for everybody listening. Now we're just going to go on to a couple more questions. So Ben, first of all to you. You said that you studied the SCIT programme, which is also sort of known as the PGCE. What led to you choosing the programme? What kind of filtered into your decision making behind that?
So I always knew that teaching was one of the routes that I really wanted to get into. So I didn't actually study teaching at undergrad level. And like Farhan said, I suppose I was one of the conversion students, because I studied film and television, and then whilst I was studying film and television at undergrad level at Lincoln, I see that the university offered this thing called the Lincoln Award in teacher training. And it was sort of like a 2-week work experience type thing, where you would sign up to this award, you would do all sorts of voluntary work and interview skills, and then you'd go into a school for 2 weeks, and depending on how much you wanted to take on or how little you wanted to take on was really up to you. It was quite bespoke like that. So I did that for 2 weeks, loved it, and then decided that actually that's a route that I really wanted to take. So it was sort of like a try before you buy type thing that the university offered. So it worked out really well because you sort of got a taste of it before you actually did it. And then I came away and applied straight away.
Wonderful, thank you, Ben. And Alice, same question to you. Did you have prior experience of, working in a sort of caring capacity, and that led you to nursing, or what other factors led you to choosing your particular programme?
So I actually applied for the undergrad 3 years because I didn't see it as attainable for me to have a postgrad, because my previous was in art, and then my kind of previous working background was children with complex needs and special education. So although I was exposed to those medical elements, I didn't have any kind of direct experience with nursing. And I think that was maybe one of the biggest obstacles for me, kind of worrying that I was kind of going to be a little bit more inadequate than other people. But when it came to it, it was great, because everybody had different experience to bring to the cohort, and it really kind of depended on just your values as a person and your determination to kind of fulfill your passion, really.
Yeah, and I think that's such a nice point as well, because a lot of people, if they do a certain undergraduate degree, they think that they've been sort of pigeonholed into a certain area. And actually, one of the benefits of postgraduate study is that you can, as Farhan was discussing earlier, convert. And actually, at postgraduate level, you get people from a whole diverse range of academic backgrounds. So that's fantastic. And moving on to Greg, you said that you studied the MRes psychology programme. What was your thought process behind choosing that particular course?
I think, for me, I kind of was always in two minds. Like I knew that I wanted to go for a doctorate, but I didn't know which I wanted to go for. Quite a lot of it was focused on going for the applied clinical doctorate for the Trent program. But at the time I was doing my undergraduate in Lincoln in clinical psychology, and I was assisting a lecturer on a funded project. And I think that kind of gave me a taste for research, which then kind of wanted me to do more research and get more involved in publishing research and doing that sort of thing. So he kind of encouraged me quite a lot to keep pursuing that. And I suppose, that sort of piqued my interest. And then I decided to start doing research into addiction.
Yeah, so again, it's a really good idea if you can get experience and sort of try before you buy, as it were, and make use of those opportunities at undergraduate level. It may then lead to an interest that you want to pursue at postgrad. So that's brilliant, thank you. And obviously you're going on to do more research with your PhD, so that's fantastic. Moving on to Tom, so you're doing the creative writing, and you studied the creative writing and publishing programme, which is a course that we deliver in partnership with The Guardian. What led to you choosing that particular course?
So I did my undergrad degree in drama, and I graduated in 2015. So I actually took 4 years off before coming back and doing my master's. And I think the course at Lincoln for MA in Creative Writing and Publishing is so kind of unique, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find something so unique across the country, because of the fact that it is in collaboration with the Guardian masterclasses, which is something you can do outside of an educational setting, but I think having it in collaboration with that bigger qualification of a master's degree is something so unique and so special. And sometimes I kind of sit back and think about, I've been in rooms with authors and really well-known non-fiction writers, and I was at the Guardian offices when they were deciding which political party they were going to back for the last general election. I think you can't kind of get that experience anywhere else, and it was just so unique. And I've always wanted to be a writer, but I think it's one of those careers that kind of does feel unattainable in a way, because there's no clear set path to achieving it. And I knew I wanted to. I was already writing in the interim and have been writing, you know, most of my life, but I wanted a place to go where I could kind of hone the craft, and have a place and a space where I could explore different mediums with a bunch of people from all different, as Farhan said, all different experiences, all different walks of life.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that raises a really important point about looking at the, you know, sort of individual benefits of the courses and what makes that particular course special. So yeah, it sounds like you really found a great match for you there. Sean, you studied the MSc Mechanical Engineering. What led to you choosing this programme? And can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up kind of studying on that course as well? Because I know that you came from a scholarship route as well.
Yeah, that's right. So I was working in engineering before. I was a mature student when I started my MSc. My undergrad was in engineering as well, but I finished that, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. And I did that part-time with the Open University. And I was looking at a career change. And I thought, I didn't really know what to look for, because I've been with my previous employer for over 20 years. So I didn't really know what was available, what was out there, what I could do. And I thought the MSc would be a perfect opportunity for me to update my skills, get my head back into what's current, and use the opportunities available with the university to see what jobs are available locally, because I'm local anyway. So I applied for the course, was accepted, and then I got an email out of the blue just saying Siemens were offering scholarships. So why not? Why not apply? You know, I've got nothing to lose. So applied for that, interviewed, and was successful. So that was, you know, that was great for me. Saves me having to look for a job at the end of it, and that's where I am now.
Amazing, thank you so much. Okay, moving on finally to Effie on this particular question. So you studied the MSc Agri-Food Technology programme. Just sort of explain a little bit about why you chose that particular programme, because it's quite a unique course, isn't it?
Yeah, so it is very unique. So my undergrad was in biology, which I loved, but it was very general. So I didn't really have a specific route to go down. So then when I was thinking about kind of what next, I really wanted to get into sustainable agriculture and sustainable food production, and obviously to kind of help with the challenge of feeding the huge population with limited resources. So I thought actually this course offered a really broad kind of knowledge base of farm to fork. So it's kind of the perfect introduction to the topic.
Yeah, brilliant, thank you. Okay, so I think we'll go on to the next question. So first of all, back to you, Ben. How do you think that your course helped? And so going back to that PGC skit, how do you think it helped you prepare for your career within the classroom, and what transferable skills did it give you?
So there's nothing else really like the combined skit and PGC. It's really unique in that way. And I always use the analogy of like learning to drive, because from the moment you start that course, you're in a classroom. So you're in a classroom in September, and you're given sort of free rein to go again as fast or as slow as you need to do. You observe teachers from. It's really important that it's from September, because you start to see the teachers set up relationships and set up the routines that they use throughout the year. So you get to watch that, which is invaluable, really. And I sort of missed that already in my first year teaching. I miss watching great teachers do what they do best, because that's a really valuable way of learning. And then every Tuesday, you get the theoretical sort of underpinning through the PGCE, which again is really invaluable, because you've got doctors that are at the top of the game, you know, at the top of the field. And they teach you new sort of strategies and new theoretical ideas that you then on the Wednesday take straight back into the classroom and you try it out. And what's really unique about the course is that you're allowed to fail, which is, I know sounds really odd at first, but it's a really great way of sort of realizing what you're like as a teacher, what sort of ethos you follow. And then what's really great about it is that they stick you in a second school placement which is usually really, really contrasted to your first school. So the catchment area might be totally different, the students might be totally different, the parents might be totally different, and so that's a really good way really of gaining so much experience that when you eventually leave and look for a job in teaching, you've got a wealth of experience from the theoretical side, from the practice side, that actually you decide which school you would be well fitted into sort of going into and spending your career. So you get quite a lot from the course. It's really, really in depth in that way, really.
Yeah, and I suppose that really does set you up to being a real credit to your school as soon as you then start your NQT year, because you really do have that on-the-job experience and you've gained all of those skills in a training environment. And then, you know, it's a much easier transition, I suppose, to when you are that newly qualified role. Amazing, thank you, Ben. And to Alice, obviously you're studying the nursing programme, which is very placement based as well. How do you think your course is helping you prepare for your career, the transferable skills that it's giving you, and how is it making you more employable once you leave?
I think the good thing about the course is just kind of the sheer amount of influences and experiences that it introduces you to. I think it prepares me for the health sector because it teaches you to draw on the resources that you have around you, but also to move away from those and go a little bit further afield as well. So from a kind of professional perspective, I'm organising my own elective placement and I'm doing that in an area that I'm interested in and that I will feel that will make me more employable. But then from a personal development, my tutors and lecturers are supporting me in other projects that are separate from that for personal development, to be creative. And I think it just shows a sense of personal direction, and your determination makes you employable because they understand you want to improve patient outcome.
Yeah, and I think that really ties in with what Farhan was saying earlier about postgraduate study being a sort of transformational year or 2 years in your case, where you really do learn a lot about yourself and what it is that you want to pursue after leaving. So that's great. Thank you, Alice. And Greg, to you, you said earlier that once you finish your PhD in psychology, you're then potentially looking to go down the route of academia and lecturing. How do you think the master's course and the PhD course are preparing you for that career?
I mean, the master's course was kind of really eye-opening in a way, and very similar to my PhD in the way that it functions and the way that it runs. It's a lot of independent work. Obviously, there's no lectures or seminars to be in. It's not a taught master's. So it's pretty much predominantly all on your own back, all independent work, all your own time management, project management. You set your deadlines and you've got to work towards them. So in terms of setting me up to do my PhD, as well as further on, whether I do go into research or whether I do go into lecturing, I think there's a lot of transferable skills there and a lot of things, exactly what you're saying with yourself as like a personal growth thing in terms of knowing what it is that you want to do, being able to develop new skills. The same, the doctoral school is there to help as well. But I suppose for me, it was the flexibility of it. I think being able to choose what I wanted to research into, being sort of the person in charge of that as well, because I was self-funded. So again, I kind of chose what I wanted to do and pursued that. And I say, the flexibility of being able to, like saying, go on other people's projects, go to conferences, speak at conferences, go to workshops, develop all these different skills, as well as, I mean, at the time I was working part-time as well. So it kind of just gave me that flexibility and that availability to do lots of different things, learn lots of different things. And then obviously now doing my PhD, I've had teaching, I've had marking responsibilities. So yeah, it's really sort of developed me, I suppose, as a person and as somebody who can develop and plan material as well as sort of deliver it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So it's really made you responsible for your own sort of learning experience and development. Brilliant, thank you. And Tom, moving on to you, I know that you said that you were in the process of starting your own business, which is really, really exciting, and that you've also, I believe, been published as well after finishing the programme. So how do you think the creative writing and publishing course set you up for that? What skills did it give you to make you more employable?
I think there's kind of two main things that that I think are super important with the course, and one of them is kind of the industry exposure and the industry knowledge that you take forward with you up from finishing the course. So every single week we were exposed to different writers from different backgrounds, and I think it really highlighted the point that there's no one route into being a writer, whatever form that might take. So I know, like, my end goal, I'd love to be a novelist, and that's kind of, I went into the masters working, well, I was working on a second draft of a novel, and I think that was really kind of important for me to do that, to already be in the process of having a project that I was working on. So I could then kind of pick the skills and kind of use the course to the best of my advantage. So things from like pitching and networking and, templates for cover letters, that kind of thing. And then those are the things that I've used to be published on Medium and on BuzzFeed, which was kind of the latest commission that I got. And then from the other perspective, I think it's worth noting that when you kind of decide on your final project, you get one of the tutors, whichever, similar to the dissertation process, whichever tutor is kind of most involved in that kind of genre or that type of work. And I think the tutors I had, Jason and Amy, were absolutely incredible and are also working in the field themselves. And I think it's nice to have the tutors being part of the industry as well. So from kind of January to August last year, I was having bi-weekly meetings with Amy, editing kind of the first 6 chapters of my novel. And I think that in itself is an insight into what working on a larger project with other people will be like. So I think everything from the networking, the exposure, to the actual writing as a craft, has helped me in so many ways, regardless of what avenue I, decide to go down.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point about postgraduate education, is that the relationship with the academics that teach you changes from undergrad, because you make those more collegiate networks and professional networks. And as you said, the people who teach on the programmes are still working within these fields and can help you understand the real sort of background work that goes into these professions. So I think that's a really great point. Moving on to Sean, so you said that because you've come through a scholarship route, you had a placement with Siemens lined up for immediately after you left the programme. But kind of building on that, how do you think that the course has kind of set you up for your future career path, and how do you think it's made you more employable?
I think the fact that there are scholarships available highlight that the skills that you learn on the course are directly related to industry. And I know that the university and other Siemens and other companies work together to ensure that the guys that are finishing the courses are directly employable in that field. And the research and analytical skills you gain through all your modules, it's a lot of work to do, but they are, again, directly applicable. You go into a job, you're giving a task. It may be new, it may be something you've never come across, but you can just go back to what you've done through uni, research, analyze, and progress. And it's exactly the same as your coursework as to being in the real world. Directly, it's the same thing, it's just a different environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sean. And finally, Effie, on this particular question, can you just tell the audience what job you're doing now, and how you think that the course that you studied enabled you to get that role, and the transferable skills that it gave you in order to sort of join this business and be a great part of that team?
Yeah, of course. So at the minute I'm working for an agri-tech company on the project management side of things. So we have quite a few government funded projects. So it's kind of like running those, and the key concept behind them is kind of reducing food waste, making kind of crop growth more efficient, improving crop quality, or reducing energy usage. And actually I found it really useful for how my degree set me up. So like I said, it's a really broad range of knowledge that you get. So from farm to fork. So we visited, whilst on the course, we visited working farms and we visited food factories. We were able to speak to a manager at Tesco to understand kind of consumer trends. And also our lecturers were all kind of based in industry before, so they had that real life experience as well. And so while we're kind of focusing more on the agri sector, the fact that I have a knowledge of how food goes all the way to consumers' homes has actually been really useful in thinking about the technology we're creating and how we can help the growers as well. So that's quite a key thing. We speak to our growers quite a lot to kind of get end user feedback, and just having the basic knowledge of crop systems has made me a lot more confident to speak to farmers, because before the degree I didn't really have any exposure to agriculture. So yeah, it's just given me that kind of really good foundation to then progress. Yeah, that really sort of specialist knowledge that you need when you're dealing with people who work in that field day in, day out, and have done so for years. That's fantastic. Okay, so I think Ben, we'll go back to you. What did you enjoy most about your postgraduate education? And if you can as well, just explain how it compared to your experience at undergrad.
I suppose one of the best benefits to the postgraduate education was the network. So to come back to this idea that when I was doing my postgraduate education, there were people from all sorts of backgrounds, which seems very cliche now because we've heard it a few times, but it is really surprising to see where people come from. So there were people that had, like a 40-year career in the military. There were people that had a huge sort of successful career in financing in London. So really to meet those people and to talk about their experiences and to pick away at their skill sets was invaluable, really. And I think that's a huge difference to the sort of people you meet at undergraduate, because at postgraduate level, I found particularly that I was finding people that were already really well established. And that came as a huge shock to me, actually. But with that as well comes the benefit of actually forming those close relationships. And whilst they're in school and they're doing things, it enabled me to, if I was ever struggling with anything, I knew quite a few people that specialised in certain areas before they even came to teacher training. So on quite a few occasions, I've ended up picking brains and being all the better for it, really. So yeah, I think that the networking is a huge thing for postgraduate, and that's not something you can really get anywhere else. I'm not really sure how you would do that unless you spent 40 years building your own career. And it's really nice as well, because obviously these people that you work with, that you form close relationships with, and also it's quite intimate because there's not many of you at postgraduate level either. It's not as if there's 100 sort of students enrolled. So you end up forming really close relationships in a really short space of time. And those relationships last as well. So it's really nice to go back to it and pick brains. And it's nice to see that those people that you form close relationships with are working in schools. But there's quite a few of us that are working together as well in the same school, which is really nice because you've got that familiarity when you get to a school.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we haven't really touched on it that much, but your answer then just kind of, reminded me that you make some fantastic friends at postgraduate level. I did a postgraduate course myself, and I'm still in really regular contact with those people, and it's a lovely way to just make friends. I mean, yes, you know, they're a professional network as well, but it's a lovely way of just meeting new people. So yeah, I think that's great. Thank you, Ben. And Alice, what's the your favourite part of the course that you're studying now? Because obviously you're still on your second year at the moment. So what do you enjoy best about your programme?
I think I'm going to follow on from Ben, really. It is that kind of extensive spectrum of disciplines that I've experienced from being in my cohort. And it's also the skills that I've learned in my past. So with that kind of being patient and attention to detail and reacting to change, the cohort has been really appreciative of the skills that I've brought, as I have of them. And I think the difference between my undergrad and my postgrad is, for my undergrad, we were kind of all there with the same goal. So although we had free rein with creativity, and we kind of went away and did our own thing, we were quite in isolation because it was your project and you did everything for it. Whereas with the cohort now, we all work together. We really do work through the problems as a team, really. And I think the lecturers and my tutor have supported me to do new things for the university. So I've designed educational documents, I've designed stuff for my cohorts, and I think it's just really appreciated by everybody.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And you know, I think as a postgraduate student, I think sort of Greg touched on this earlier on, is that you do have more responsibility over how you learn. And because you work so closely with the academics as well, there is that opportunity to have an impact on how you're taught and what's on your programme. So that's fantastic. Thanks, Alice. And going over to Greg as well, what was your favourite part of studying a postgraduate course?
That's a bit of a cliche, but again, it's just following on. I mean, the biggest thing was sort of the flexibility of it, is being able to decide and choose when you work, where you work, how you work. And as well, I think, again, because it's quite isolating, it's quite obviously it's all independent work. So for a long time, I sort of was quite like we are now, I suppose, living and working all in one room. So the other side of it was the networking and the social side of it, where other staff members and colleagues, you were treated or looked upon very differently compared to undergrad. You were involved a lot more. Obviously, I think that's a two-way street that I kind of obviously wanted to be involved and sort of that was reciprocated. So there was sort of conferences and research groups that I was part of, which had sort of like, you know, Christmas socials and meetings sort of every month, and just building up that rapport with different people and having that, I suppose, more of an informal relationship with people who used to be sort of teaching you and above you, and now kind of more inclusive, more friendly, more trying to get you involved in stuff and much more on the same level, where, like you're saying, you can have a real good conversation with them. You can talk about their experiences. You can talk about stuff outside of work as well, which was definitely sort of a real godsend for me, especially when I had nothing to be in for. And so it was giving me an excuse to get out of the house, to get involved with things and really push me to get out of my comfort zone, I suppose, and learn new things.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so I think now for Sean, Tom and Effie, I'm probably going to go on to our final question. And I'll go through all of you actually, because I think it'll be really useful to hear everybody's opinion on this. But first of all, Tom, what advice would you give to people who are considering postgraduate education?
I'd say my biggest thing when people kind of ask me is you don't need to rush into anything, and you don't necessarily need to do something that's related to your undergraduate degree. And I think it's always good if you've got that specialism and you're really passionate about it. And I think everything goes back to what Farhan said about do something that you enjoy, and don't do something just because you think that you A, need to do it to get the career that you want, or B, because there's a time limit on these things, because there isn't. When I graduated with my undergrad, I was presented with some options to go into postgraduate study, but at the time I didn't feel like it would suit me. and I didn't know what the end goal would be or what I'd get out of it at that moment in time. It was only kind of having that space between, you know, graduating and then starting my course that I really kind of found what I wanted my kind of life to look like. And I think the creative writing and publishing is, as with any kind of arts-based degree, there's not a set career path. But again, it's just looking at what you enjoy and why you enjoy it. And I think I chose the publishing degree as opposed to just the creative writing because I wanted to understand more about how the industry worked. And I know they do that in the kind of the solo MA creative writing, but I enjoyed the fact that, you know, we got to go to London and, you know, the variation of the course was so wide. So I'd say for people applying, like, just not take the emotion out of it, but really think about what do you enjoy and find something that's for you.
Yeah, and again, I think, as you said, that really echoes what Farhan said originally, in that, you know, think about your interests. What is it that you tend to sort of find yourself looking at in your spare time? But do your research and you know, ask questions. At Lincoln, obviously, you've got the postgraduate team, people like myself who can give you advice, but also approach the academics and really look into the course and make sure that it's the right one for you. So I think that's really great advice. Thank you, Tom. Sean, same question to you. What advice would you give to people who are currently considering postgraduate education?
I would say, speaking obviously from experience now, as I've been out of education or formal education for a long time and returning to it, I would say ignore that niggling doubt when you go up to postgraduate. You know, you are capable, you will manage it. The university has got loads of supporting facilities. Your peers will help you get you through. The staff are fantastic. Don't put it off just because of that little voice in the back of your head. You can definitely do it. Yeah,
I think that's really nice. And Alice kind of mentioned earlier that originally she didn't think postgraduate study would be for her, but actually when she started it, she gained so much confidence because she realised that actually her experience and her background really added something to the wider cohort. And I think that's a really, really nice point. And as you said, there is loads of support available as well. I think, Effie, we'll probably go to you last and then finish the Q&A. So really quickly, what would your advice be to people considering postgraduate education?
I would say it's kind of, Greg touched on it before, that the relationship kind of with you and then the lecturers is very different. You're normally in smaller groups, so I'd say be pushy almost. So they are there to support you and you will very much get out of it as what you put in. So always ask questions, kind of make sure you ask for their support because they really do want to help you and they want to see you succeed. And also, kind of like Farhan mentioned at the beginning, it really is a networking opportunity as well. So I'm still in touch with a lot of my lecturers, or I'll kind of ask them for industry contacts because I know they've all been in different areas of the industry. So I think it is, yeah, it's more for you to get more involved rather than you just sitting there watching lectures learning. It's personal development as well as just learning a subject.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice because it really feeds into the fact that this is a sort of investment in your future. And as you said, you get back what you put in. And it's not just about sort of turning up to lectures and seminars. There's so much more that you can make use of if you ask the right questions and as you said, kind of, you know, use the academics that teach you for their contacts. Well, I think because I'm so interested in everything that you have to say, but I know that we do have to wrap up now. So I just wanted to finish by saying thank you so much to all of you for coming along today. It's so appreciated. And I think if I was looking at doing a postgraduate course, you're exactly the type of people that I would want to hear from and gain your advice. So thank you so much for just being so interesting and open with your experiences. We're now going to pass on to my manager, Beth, who is going to talk about the application process if you are thinking about applying for this year. So thank you all very much. And Beth, I'm just going to hand over to you.
Thanks so much, Lauren, and thank you very much to our fabulous alumni. That was just so interesting hearing all of their stories about postgraduate study. And I think what really came out of hearing from them today is that there's just so many different reasons why you might want to consider studying a postgraduate degree. So it might be that you're looking to enter a particular profession that isn't related to your bachelor's degree, like Ben or Alice. For example, you might want to be a teacher or a nurse or a solicitor or social worker. And if you are thinking about going into any of those professions, a conversion master's degree, which is an intensive postgraduate year, can really help you to pursue a career that your undergraduate degree hasn't necessarily prepared you for. It's a really great way to sort of change direction and get into something that you're really interested in. And it might be that you want to improve your employment prospects like Sean. So having a relevant master's degree could give you a crucial competitive edge in a crowded job market. And employers are increasingly looking for ways to distinguish candidates, and this higher level qualification shows your ability to commit to an intensive period of work. So if you're already working in a preferred industry, a postgraduate degree can really help lead to a rapid career progression. Or you might have plans to study at a PhD level, particularly if you're interested in a career in academic research like Greg was. So a master's in research could be a really great route to this. Or you might want to change direction like Tom and Effie. So if you've enjoyed what you've studied in your bachelor's degree, but you know that your future lies in a slightly different direction, a master's degree can be a really great opportunity to do that. Many master's programs will accept students with a bachelor's in any discipline, and that really enables you to rethink your academic focus and maybe move in a different direction. And I think fundamentally what it shows is that through our alumni stories is that a master's degree is really an opportunity to do something that you love. If you're passionate about your subject area and you want to spend another 12 months doing something that you really, really enjoy, then a master's course could be a fantastic option for you. I think what's really interesting is at the moment, it could be a really good time to consider doing a master's degree. This week, the High Flyers research report was released. And what that does is it looks at the state of the graduate job market this year. It's done every year. You can find it by Googling the High Flyers research. But what that said is that there's some really good news. Despite what's happened with COVID over the last year or so, the number of graduate jobs on offer this year is likely to increase by 2.5%. So that's some really, really positive news. But on the other side, on average, the country's top employers have received 41% more graduate job applications so far this year compared to the equivalent period in 2019-20. So there's a lot more competition for those increased number of jobs. So what this means is that whilst there's more jobs likely to be available, applications will be more competitive. So a master's could be a really good way to help you to stand out from the crowd. Now at Lincoln, we do offer a couple of different types of masters, and this was touched on by our alumni a little bit. So we offer taught masters and masters by research. And I think it might be useful just to spend a couple of minutes talking about the differences in those types of masters so that when you're thinking about what you might like to study for your masters, you understand what the different programs are. So the majority of our masters are taught masters programs. So they are usually about 12 months in length, and they're like a step up from your undergraduate study. So your study is still guided. You tend to have lectures and seminars, but the lecture groups and the seminar groups do tend to be a bit smaller than your undergraduate studies. And you'll do some smaller assignments, and you'll usually spend the summer writing a dissertation piece, which is a large research project. So you'll have some teaching, but you'll also have the opportunity to spend some time doing some independent research that's guided by our academic members of staff. And a taught masters is really good opportunity if you're thinking to acquire advanced subject knowledge, you want to change direction, or you have a specific career goal. Now, the other option is a master's by research. So these are usually also a 12-month programme. But as Greg mentioned earlier, it's a lot more independent study. For a master's by research, you typically don't have any lectures and seminars, and you're going to spend most of your time doing one or more extended projects. So when you go into these programmes, it's a really good idea to have an idea about the sort of research that you want to spend the year doing. And doing a master's by research is a really good idea if you're thinking about a career in academic research, or you're going into a profession where research skills are going to be really valuable. So to talk a little bit about making your application to the University of Lincoln, for most master's courses, the requirements for entry are pretty similar. Typically, the university is looking to see whether you have the correct academic qualifications for entry. Some programs may require specific subjects or grades for entry, so you should check your suitability before applying by looking at the course pages on the website, or if you want to, you can email the postgraduate team and we can help you out with that. For a taught master's programme, you'll usually need to provide a personal statement, and the personal statement is usually between 200 and 500 words. And if you want help with that personal statement, please do get in touch with the postgraduate team and we can share a guide with you that sort of talks about how to construct that piece. For a master's by research, you'll normally need to submit a research proposal. Because you're going to be spending most of your time working on an independent research piece, you need to have a good idea about what you want to spend your year working on. And a research proposal for a master's by research is usually between 1,000 and 3,000 words. And again, if you'd like any guidance on how to construct that, please do contact the postgraduate team and we can share these guidance documents with you. You'll also need to provide us with a reference. So that's usually a reference from an academic member of staff, such as your tutor or undergraduate dissertation supervisor, and that will support your application. And for some programmes at the University of Lincoln, you might also need to provide a portfolio or evidence of work experience or undertake an interview. So do check the course pages for your chosen course or speak to the programme lead for a bit more information about that. Now, for students that are applying to a taught master's at the University of Lincoln, you have a couple of different options. If you are currently an undergraduate with us at the University of Lincoln, you can apply using our fast track application system, which you can find on the university's internal Blackboard system. This is a really nice way for our current students to apply because as you're already studying at the University of Lincoln, your application form is pre-populated with information that the university already knows. So that means that the application process is significantly speeded up for you. You will still need to add in the name of the course that you're wanting to apply to, as well as your personal statement and reference, but everything else is pretty much pre-filled for you. You can apply for as many master's courses as you wish, and there's no charge to make an application for your personal statement. There's no charge to make an application, but your personal statement needs to be tailored for each course you're applying to. So do make sure that you think about your personal statement and make sure it's giving a good overview of why you're a good candidate for the course and your passion for studying that subject. If you are outside of the university, so you're studying at another university for your undergraduate degree, or you've taken a gap in your studies and you're currently working and looking to get back into education, we recommend that you apply through our application, which you'll find online on our university website. You can find that through the Apply Now button on the course information pages. And that is our One Uni application system, which is an online application system. It's a really easy form to fill in. It takes you through the process step by step. But again, we do have loads of guides to help you with that. And if you would like any support at all, please do get in touch with the postgraduate team and they can help you through that process. If you're thinking of applying by a master's by research, again, you need to apply through the One Uni application system. And again, you'll find that using the Apply Now button on the course information page. And as I said before, you'll need to include a research proposal with that application, as well as the names and contact details of 2 references. So once the university has received your application, either through the Blackboard Fast Track or the One Uni application system, the admissions team and the academic school will review your application, and then they'll get back in touch with you to let you know whether your application has been successful or not. If you're applying for a master's by research, your application may take a little bit longer to review because the school needs to look at your research proposal, identify a suitable supervisor, and make sure your proposed research project is going to be suitable for that year. So do understand that it might take a little bit longer and just build that into the time when you start submitting your application. Applications are currently open for October 2021 entry. We don't have specific deadlines for many programs, but do check the course information page because some of our programs have a couple of deadlines on there, but we do recommend you apply as soon as possible so as to avoid disappointment, and certainly we recommend applying before the 30th of June for courses starting in October 2021. Now, if you are thinking of applying and coming to study a postgraduate degree, you need to have a little think about how you're going to support yourself financially during that year. The University of Lincoln does have a number of scholarships and bursaries available to students, so do have a look at our website for more information about those. But one of the ones that a lot of our students take advantage of is our University of Lincoln Alumni Scholarship. So if you have previously studied at the University of Lincoln, you may be eligible for a 20% discount on your tuition fees. There's no application for that. The discount is automatically applied. But as I said, there are other scholarships available if you haven't previously studied at the University of Lincoln. So do take a look at the university's scholarships and bursaries page for more information about what might be available to help support you. On top of scholarships and bursaries, there are quite a wide range of funding options available to our students. The most important of those is the postgraduate loan, which I'll touch on in a moment, but there's also packages available to support health and social care courses. There's the disabled students allowance, and there's also potentially employer sponsorships such as the Siemens scholarship that Sean was talking about earlier. So again, if you want to have any more information about those funding options, do come and talk to the postgraduate team and we can help you with that. But as I mentioned, many students do take advantage of the postgraduate student loan or the master's loan, which for October 2021 entry allows you to take up to £11,570 to support the cost of your postgraduate master's qualification. Eligibility rise, your course must be a full master's course, but it can be taught or research based. You do need to be a UK national or an EU national that's pre-settled under the EU settlement scheme. You need to be under the age of 60, and you must not already hold a postgraduate or integrated master's qualification. If you would like some more information about postgraduate funding and supporting yourself whilst you're studying your postgraduate degree, we do have a really helpful upcoming postgraduate funding talk, which is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, the 11th of May from 2 o'clock. And if you'd like some more information or you'd like to book your place on the course, please do email the postgraduate team at pginquiries@lincoln.ac.uk and we can send you the link to book yourself onto that. On top of the upcoming postgraduate funding talk, we do have a number of other events taking place over the next few months. We have a postgraduate open day taking place on the 6th of March. So if you have really enjoyed today's talk and you're thinking postgraduate study might be a nice option for you, if you'd like to come along to our postgraduate open day, we'll have all of our programme leads available there. So you can talk to them about the course itself and learn a bit more about the content and how the course might be a good fit for you. We'll have another brunch taking place on the 17th of April. We've also got an accelerated application support day taking place on the 13th of May. So if you want to make an application and would like some help with that, you're welcome to come along to our accelerated application event. But we do also offer one-to-one support. So if you'd like some one-to-one support with making your application, please do reach out to the postgraduate team by emailing pginquiries@lincoln.ac.uk. And finally, we do offer a suite of masterclasses which happen throughout the year, and these are run by our programme leads and are subject specific, and the information about the various masterclasses that we have coming up are on our website, but we are constantly adding to that. So if your programme isn't on there, please do keep an eye on it or drop us an email and we'll talk to the programme lead to set up a masterclass for you. So that's an overview of making an application and funding support at the university. As I said, if you do have any questions or need any help, please do contact the postgraduate team at pginquiries@lincoln.ac.uk. But I'm going to hand back now to Lauren.
Thank you so much, Beth. And just to really quickly say that if you've got any questions, if you could put them in the chat now, just so we can answer them before we go today. But as Beth said, we've got so many events coming up, so there's plenty of opportunity to find out more. And obviously, outside of those events, contact us anytime and we'll be able to talk you through applying or give you more information about the programme that you're interested in. Beth, thank you so much. That was really detailed and really, really helpful for people watching. Just one question, I've seen some comments crop up. So one of the questions is about part-time jobs for students in Lincoln. And I thought it might be good to mention that we do have ambassador roles for the University of Lincoln that postgraduate students can engage with if they want maybe sort of occasional part-time work while studying.
Absolutely, and we've got an amazing careers and employability team here at the University of Lincoln that advertise loads of job opportunities for our students to take whilst they're studying their undergraduate or postgraduate degrees. And lots of employers work with the university, and because the university is advertising those roles, they tend to be a little bit more flexible. So there's jobs both on campus and off campus as well. So definitely, if you're looking for part-time work, it's worthwhile connecting with our careers and employability service. But as Lauren says, there is lots and lots of job opportunities on our campus for students, and certainly within the marketing team that we work in, we do take on a lot of student ambassadors who help us with the activities that we do, and the same is across most of the university's departments. So there is huge opportunities on campus, but lots of opportunities in the town as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think it's called the Job Shop at the Career Service is a brilliant resource for people looking for work. And then finally, another question about doing a postgraduate course, but then worried that you're maybe pigeonholing yourself too much by doing that programme. I mean, I suppose from my perspective, my advice would be, as you've heard earlier from the alumni, postgraduate study gives you loads of transferable skills. So even if you then end up moving outside of your specialism, you then have loads of transferable skills that you'll have gained on that course that you could use for other jobs. Do you have anything to add to that at all?
No, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, a postgraduate degree is really highly sought after by employers because it gives you so many, as Lauren said, like amazing transferable skills. Certainly my master's degree in Renaissance literature, I've not used at all since I finished my master's, and I work in marketing now. And certainly a lot of the skills that I learned on that, being able to write and being able to research and do all of those sort of things, have really helped me to get to where I am in my career and sort of move into marketing. And so I don't think you have to feel that just because you've done a master's degree in a particular field, you have to stay in that field. I think the same is the case for you as well, Lauren, isn't it? You studied law for your master's degree and now you're working in marketing too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's a great stepping stone for a whole host of different career paths. But if you wanted to, inquire more about the course and what the modules will teach you, then do just get in touch with the team, and we'll be able to put you in touch with the academic, and you can then ask questions about the different careers that previous students have gone on to do after studying that particular programme. So that might be worth doing as well.
And I think education just always opens doors for you. You know, you're never closing doors, it's always opening doors. So it's giving you more opportunities and more skills, and certainly it's building your CV all the time. So I don't think you have to be too concerned that you're pigeonholing yourself at all.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. Okay, well, we haven't had any more comments through or any more questions through just yet. So I think we'll sign off now, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been lovely speaking to you. I do hope that you found the information helpful. But as my colleagues and I have said, please do just get in contact with the team if you do want to discuss anything more further, and do keep an eye on our website for future events as well, so you can come and join us again. But for now, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
Bye.